Is there a right way to play football? Is there a wrong way to play football? Does it matter? And why is there such a snobbery in the game today? This video is coming after the Man City Arsenal game where they drew 2-2 and Arsenal defended like gladiators but unfortunately just conceded right at the death of the game, and obviously it brought up all the questions. Why didn't Arsenal attack more? We saw it last year with Rodri. Even when they had won the league, they were still criticising Arsenal for the way they turned up at the Etihad last season, and then the way they played and the way they set up defensively. And I think the main question is, what is the right way to play football? Well, someone like Rodri, and unfortunately he's done his ACL and he might be out for the entire season. But just to speak about these players, Rodri is clearly a fan of tiki-taka. He's clearly a fan of the passing game. And why not? He's Spanish. The Spaniards, that is literally their bread and butter. You see how Pep Guardiola plays his teams. You see how Del Bosque played all of his teams with Iniesta and Xabi Alonso in the midfield. So I don't blame him for wanting other teams to want to play how he wants to play. It's understandable because Man City, I don't think they're the best team to watch in the world, but they clearly are probably the most skillful team in the world. And that's completely fair enough. But I think the thing is, there's more than one way to skin a cat. And we've seen that in years and years and years. Let's take José Mourinho's Chelsea in the 2004-2005 season. He came from Porto. He brought in players like Ricardo Carvalho. He brought in players like Didier Drogba from Marseille. And with this, Mourinho brought in a very strong defensive way of football. He'd won the Champions League with Porto, and he was clearly an underdog in that situation. He went to Chelsea and just destroyed English football for a couple of seasons. He conceded 6 goals at home at Stamford Bridge. It's ridiculous. He only conceded 9 goals away from home, but 15 goals is still a record in English football in the top division today. But this is looked back on as quite iconic. This is looked back on so favourably, but obviously at the time, it wasn't. Mourinho was seen as anti-football. A bit lesser in his early days, but definitely in his mid to late career. And this is the reason that I think people in the long run see winning as the best way of football, but in the short run see the attacking wise as the best way of football. I have no problem whatsoever, and I don't think anyone else should, other than a Man City fan, that Arsenal defended that well at the Etihad. What is the issue with it? One, I don't think they came straight out to defend. I think unfortunately with Trossard getting sent off, then you have to adjust your game plan. But what are people expecting? Are people expecting Arteta to go to the Etihad in a game where they can't lose? It's not like Brentford when they go to the Etihad where they go, well, we're probably going to lose anyway, let's just go for it. Arteta can't lose because it comes down to 2 or 3 points every season. So he has 10 men, he's 2-1 up, and he needs basically to win the game. What difference does it make if he attacks or defends? What sense would it make to attack Man City in that game? He did exactly what they should have done, and it was a lapse of concentration where they didn't double up on Jack Grealish coming off the corner, and they got a really well-earned point at Man City. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Me personally, I really enjoyed that game. I really enjoyed how well Arsenal were defending, because Man City are the best team at breaking teams down within the 18-yard box. They're fantastic at it. They didn't have an answer, did they? And it was so exciting. Maybe I'm just a football nerd, and maybe people want a game that is 5-5, up and down. Like the Man United-Chelsea game last season at Stamford Bridge, up and down, 3 or 4 goals with each team. And that's fair enough, because that is also very exciting. But just from the kind of nerdy chess way of watching football, I think it was brilliant how Man City, they could not find an answer at all. They were trying so much stuff, but the defensive-ness and just the passion from that Arsenal team, I think was brilliant. And I think personally, it reminds me of when Atletico Madrid played Barcelona in the mid-2010s. I believe it was the semi-final to get to the final against Real Madrid. And Simeone was 1-0 up at the time. It might have been at the Nou Camp. And he just defended. That team defended with their lives. They had Diego Godin, they had Miranda, I believe they had Felipe Luis, Juanfran, all these brilliant defenders that it was about the passion that they were shown in the game. Yes, attacking-wise, it was very dull because they barely got anywhere. And yes, attacking-wise for Barcelona in that game, it was also very dull because they didn't get anywhere. But just seeing people like that work hard for a result, in my opinion, I think that's very enjoyable. I just find it a bit odd, this arrogance with the way people play football. Tony Pulis is maybe the best example other than Sam Allardyce. He created a very, very good Stoke team. And, I mean, look at Stoke now. They're struggling to stay in the Championship. But did he do it the tiki-taka way? No. Did he do it the very attacking way? No. He had a very strong, tough, physical team with Nzonzi, Ryan Shawcross, Robert Hoof all in the spine of the team. And he grinded out results. Arsene Wenger used to hate playing against Stoke, he said, because he knew Tony Pulis was always going to give them such a hard game. I think it's just such a tough one for managers nowadays, because if Arteta doesn't win anything with Arsenal but he plays brilliant football, then no one cares he didn't win anything. Look at Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp played some of the best football we've ever seen in the Premier League. And if you look at it, not just Twitter idiots, people in quite high positions within the media have ridiculed Jurgen Klopp, called him an absolute fraud, when in reality he's one of the best managers we've probably ever seen in the sport. But obviously he came against maybe the best manager we've ever seen in the sport, who was playing brilliant football as well. But people don't look back as much with Jurgen Klopp and go, wow, that season when they got 97 points and Man City got 98, that may be the best Liverpool team people have ever seen, and just the attacking force of that team, it was brilliant. And I'm culpable of it, because even when Liverpool won the league, I still think the season before, when they just lost out in the league by 1 point, it was a better team, it was a more exciting team, it was a more fun season to watch, because the Liverpool who, I mean, I think they conceded just over 20 goals that season in 2020 when they won the league. That definitely was not the best Liverpool team I've seen, because they were scraping out results. I remember in January, they scraped out a result against Wolves in the last minute. But obviously people look back on the season they won the Premier League and not the season before. So personally, I just find it boring. I find it boring that, don't get me wrong, I want people to be entertained. I want to be entertained watching football because it's entertainment at the end of the day. But I tell you what, I bet if you ask Chelsea fans, if they want to go back to where Mourinho won the Premier League in a bit of an anti-football way, if you want to call it, or if they want to go to, I mean, maybe even now where they're bagging in loads of goals, but they don't know if they're going to concede 4 in a game, I'm sure they would choose that Mourinho era. Same with all these other teams. But let me know what you think of the football that we're seeing at the moment. I think it is entertaining regardless. I don't think it's all defensive, and I don't think Arsenal are all defensive. And I'm not just trying to be a crusader of the Arsenal team and protect them at all costs, because I don't care that much. I just like good defending. And I think they defended really well, and I think they should be commended by that. I'm not hearing about Roy Keane saying, well, they didn't win. The day Roy Keane gives actual rational good analysis on a Premier League football match is, well, I want to see that day. But yeah, let me know what you think. If you leave a like in this video, if you subscribed, and if you could comment on the video as well, that'd be brilliant. But thanks for watching.